thought I was doing everything right. I read the parenting books, followed expert advice, and genuinely believed I was raising my kids the best way possible. Then a child psychologist watched me interact with my daughter for 20 minutes and gently said, I was devastated, but also relieved because once I understood these 7 mistakes, I could finally fix them. The 5th one absolutely shocked me because 90% of well-meaning parents do it every single day, thinking they're helping when they're actually causing harm. At the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to stop doing and what to do instead. If you want to make sure you're not accidentally damaging your child's development, but their impact is massive, and awareness is the first step to change. The first mistake is praising your child's intelligence instead of their effort, and this one is backed by decades of research from psychologist Carol Dweck. You think you're building confidence, but you're actually creating what's called a fixed mindset. Your child starts to believe their abilities are set in stone, so when they encounter something difficult, they avoid it because failure would mean they're not smart anymore. I used to tell my daughter, "You were such a smart girl," every time she did well on a test, and I noticed she started only wanting to do things she was already good at. She'd refuse to try new activities or challenging tasks. When I switched to praising effort instead, everything changed. Now I say things like, "You worked really hard on that." This teaches her that abilities grow through effort. The research shows that children praised for effort develop better resilience, higher achievement, and more willingness to take on challenges than children praised for intelligence. This small language shift makes a huge difference. The second mistake is solving your child's problems for them, and I was so guilty of this. Your child is struggling with a friend conflict, so you call the other parent. They forgot their homework, so you rushed it to school. They're having trouble with a project, so you basically do it for them. Every time we rescue our kids from discomfort or difficulty, we're sending a message that we don't trust them to handle it themselves. We think we're being helpful, but we're actually preventing them from developing problem-solving skills and resilience. The better approach is being a consultant, not a rescuer. When my son came to me upset about a friend situation, instead of fixing it, I asked questions. What do you think you could do? What feels like it might work? I offer perspective and support, but I let him come up with a solution and take action himself. Yes, sometimes kids make mistakes or struggle longer than they would if we intervened, but that struggle is where learning happens. Children who are allowed to solve their own age-appropriate problems develop confidence, competence, and genuine self-reliance. The third mistake is inconsistent boundaries and follow-through, and this creates so much confusion and anxiety for kids. You say no screen time before dinner, but then you're tired and you give in. You threaten a consequence but don't follow through. You have rules that change based on your mood. I get it, consistency is exhausting, especially when you're overwhelmed. But here's what happens in your child's brain when boundaries are inconsistent. They can't predict what will happen, so they're in a constant state of testing to figure out the real rules. This isn't manipulation, it's survival. They need to know what's safe and what's not. When I got serious about consistency, the power struggles actually decreased. I set fewer rules, but the ones I set were non-negotiable, and I followed through every single time. My kids stopped pushing as hard because they knew what to expect. Consistent boundaries create security, not restriction. Kids feel safer when they know what the limits are and can trust that adults will maintain them. There's no judgment here, just awareness and growth. The fourth mistake is comparing your child to others, either out loud or in your own mind. And this is incredibly damaging to self-esteem and sibling relationships. Why can't you be more like your sister? Your friend already knows how to read. Why don't you? Comparison teaches children that love and approval are conditional based on measuring up to some external standard. It creates shame, resentment, and a sense of never being good enough. I caught myself doing this with my 2 kids constantly. My son was more energetic and impulsive. My daughter was calmer and more compliant, and I'd find myself wishing he was more like her. Once I recognized this pattern, I actively worked to appreciate each child for who they uniquely are. I started noticing and celebrating their individual strengths instead of measuring them against each other or other kids. Your curiosity is amazing. I love how you notice everything. You're so kind, the way you help your brother without being asked. When children feel accepted for who they are, not who they wish they were, they develop authentic self-worth. The fifth mistake, and this is the one that shocked me most, is overfunctioning for your child in ways that communicate incompetence. We tie their shoes when they could learn to do it themselves because it's faster. We answer for them when someone asks them a question. We organize their backpack, pick out their clothes, and make all their decisions. We think we're being helpful or efficient, but the subtle message is, I don't trust you to do this yourself. Over time, this creates learned helplessness. Children are capable of so much more than we give them credit for, and every time we do something for them that they could do themselves, we rob them of an opportunity to build competence. I started using the phrase, I know you can handle this, when my daughter asked me to get something she could easily reach. Instead of just doing it, I'd say, I think you can get that yourself, you're strong enough. When my son wanted me to zip his jacket, I'd say, try it first, I believe you can do it, and I'll help if you need me. The sixth mistake is not allowing or validating negative emotions, and this is huge for emotional development. Your child is sad, so you immediately try to cheer them up or distract them. They're angry, and you tell them to calm down or get over it. They're scared, and you say there's nothing to be afraid of. All of these responses, while well-intentioned, teach kids that negative emotions are wrong and need to be fixed or hidden. This creates emotional suppression and poor regulation skills. What children actually need is validation and support through difficult emotions, not rescue from them. When my daughter is sad, instead of trying to make it go away, I sit with her and say, you're feeling really sad right now. That's okay. Sadness is a normal feeling. I'm here with you. I don't fix it, I just hold space for the emotion. What this does is teach her that all feelings are acceptable and temporary, and that she's capable of experiencing and moving through them. Research shows that children whose emotions are consistently validated develop better emotional regulation. The seventh mistake is using your child to meet your own emotional needs, and this is called emotional enmeshment. It can look like sharing adult problems with young children, relying on them for emotional support, making them responsible for your happiness, or living vicariously through their achievements. I see this happen when parents can't handle their child being upset with them, so they prioritize being liked over being a parent. Or when parents push their kids in sports or academics to fulfill their own unmet dreams. Children need to be children. They need parents who are emotionally stable and don't require their child's emotional caretaking. When I caught myself venting to my daughter about adult stress or feeling crushed when she was mad at me, I realized I was putting emotional weight on her that wasn't appropriate. I started getting my emotional needs met through adult relationships, therapy, and self-care instead of expecting my child to manage my feelings. This freed her to just be a kid without the burden of taking care of me. Here's what happened when I addressed all 7 of these mistakes. My relationship with my kids transformed. They became more confident, more capable, more emotionally regulated. Our home had less conflict and more connection. I felt like a better parent, not because I was perfect, but because I was aware and intentional. These changes didn't happen overnight. It took consistent effort and lots of catching myself mid-mistake, but the results have been worth every bit of work. The beautiful thing about parenting mistakes is that they're fixable. Your kids are resilient, and when you make changes, they respond. You don't have to beat yourself up for what you didn't know before. You just need to move forward with new awareness and different choices. That's what good parenting actually looks like, not perfection, but growth. If this video opened your eyes to mistakes you've been making, please share it with another parent. We're all learning together, and these conversations help us all become better. Drop a comment telling me which mistake resonated with you or which change you were going to make first. And subscribe because we're building a community of parents committed to raising emotionally healthy, confident, capable kids. Thank you for being here, for being willing to look honestly at your parenting, and for caring enough to make changes. Your kids are so lucky to have a parent who's doing this work.